Cars stolen from driveways, homes broken into, and valuables taken. These are the crimes that happen every day to people across the state.
But as the NBC10 investigators found, many of them go unsolved. Investigative reporter Claudia Vargas is finding out what makes them so hard to crack.
Chances are Lower Makefield Township Police Supervisor Jared Scherf will not be responding to a shooting or homicide today.
Homicides go, I think in my 15 years, I want to say we've had 3.
Lower Makefield is an upper middle class suburb in Bucks County where most crimes are property related: larceny, motor vehicle theft, and burglary.
A lot of our residents, and I understand their thinking, they feel that because it's a nice of area as it is, they tend to not lock their doors.
Last year, more than 142 major incidents were reported to the police, mostly property crimes. Of those, just 27% have been solved.
Being in a bigger area, less lighting, less witnessing, and less surveillance makes it a little difficult. I don't know if that's necessarily the reason why our clearance rate is what it is, but it definitely doesn't help us. I will say that much.
It isn't just difficult for police in Lower Makefield. It's a trend that's happening across the state. People are much more likely to be victims of property crimes than violent crime, but those cases have a lower chance of being solved. The NBC10 investigators looked at data that shows that there were more than 160,000 property crimes reported across the state last year. They make up the majority of major crimes.
Those are the kind of things that rise to the perception that crime is bad.
Joe Giacalone is a retired NYPD sergeant who teaches criminal justice at Penn State Lehigh Valley. He says when it comes to clearing crimes, property crimes are not solved as frequently. While the state's clearance rate for all crime is 36%, property crimes have lower rates ranging from nearly 11% to about 32%.
They're pretty low, and unfortunately, they're very difficult to identify. I mean, unless you get a really good description, or nowadays you might be able to get something on video surveillance.
He says police departments figure out clearance rates by looking at the number of cases where there's been an arrest made or the incident is resolved compared to the overall number of crimes.
Clearance rate is actually a way that you can manage how your police department is running or operating.
As of the end of November, more than half of the departments in southeast Pennsylvania had clearance rates below the state average. That includes Lower Makefield. Township Lieutenant Brian Omlor says that solving and clearing cases takes a lot of effort.
When we don't have eyewitnesses or people who are familiar with the offenders, then we look to science and technology to help us solve some crimes. We use things such as some of the items I have here in front of me. We'll swab items for DNA evidence.
He believes the rates don't tell a full story about how a department is doing.
How can crime victims trust that police will eventually solve the case?
As a police department, as all police departments do, we work diligently to try to solve all crimes.
Omlor went on to say that having surveillance equipment can be a real asset when it comes to identifying suspects and clearing cases. For the investigators, Claudia Vargas, NBC10 News.